Hello, and welcome to the first in a series of short videos about application lifecycle management. My name is Tom Grant. I work at Cutter Consortium, where I do research and consulting on application lifecycle management, ALM, Agile, and other related matters in the domain of software innovation. And to start, we're going to discuss a bit about why having a good ALM strategy matters. And then in future videos in this series, we'll talk about what a good ALM strategy looks like and how to judge whether or not the one that you craft is on track. But let me say, first of all, there's a great irony here that we're talking about the frustrations of ALM at all. And we'll be eventually getting to a definition of what we mean by ALM. But let's just say software innovation for the moment. And whether you're working in a software company or you're in a corporate IT department or some other organization where you're doing software innovation, there are reasons to be frustrated, in spite of the fact, and here's the irony part, in spite of the fact that we are actually living in somewhat of a blessed age. We have lots of people, generations of people now, who have been successful at doing software innovation, who have lots of relevant skills and experiences to bring to bear. We have methodologies that give people playbooks for increasing the odds that they'll be successful at software innovation. We have tools. We have, no matter what your job is in the software value stream, we have some kind of tool for helping you code, helping you build, helping you test, helping you do requirements, helping you deliver. There are plenty of tools out there. And there are lots of platforms on which to build and deliver the software. Mobile, cloud, next generation of Java frameworks, you name it. We've got lots and lots of different ways we can develop the software and deliver it. So there's no end of reasons why we should be successful. But we're frustrated often, with good reason. And that must mean, really, that as good as these different tools in our toolkit are for doing software innovation, we don't really know how to put them all together. We don't have a good strategy that helps get the most out of all of them. And that's why we're going to talk about ALM strategy a great deal in this series. Now, we usually feel the need for a better strategy when things go wrong, when there's some kind of crisis, or we're paralyzed in making decisions, because we have a lot of choices. As my colleague Israel Gott likes to say, there are problems of choosing, not of choice. And given all the options that we talked about for tools and platforms and methods, you name it, that we are often stuck trying to figure out what the right thing to do is, even when we're in a position of strength. And that's a sort of crisis in and of itself. That's actually the sort of crisis that people who have done Agile often face, that they reach a point where they have enough success, often in a larger organization. It's when you have multiple teams that are sprinting away, they're doing Agile, and then the question is, what do we do now? We have a team-level methodology that has succeeded. The rest of the organization clearly needs to adapt, but what do we do? And are there ways of keeping the Agile team on track? Are there investments we need to make in order to preserve the lightning in a bottle that we've created? So that's not an easy choice to make. Now, there are obviously a lot of interesting topics of discussion today around the second order effects of Agile. Things like DevOps, continuous delivery, lots of tools for Agile teams, and interesting discussions about whether you should get a tool that is designed specifically for an Agile team or a general purpose tool for a specific task. But there's often no clear answers. There's no real solid criteria for deciding why you choose A over B. We also have frustration that our customers are still unhappy with us despite all of the investments that we've made, in spite of all of the shiny tools in our toolkit for doing software innovation. And in many respects, because they're more and more dependent on software themselves, they are in the strange position of really being furious with us for not delivering something that they can really use to resolve the challenges that they have At the same time, they also want more of it from us. So how do we get out of this particular dilemma? We also have situations where our organization increasingly depends, its corporate strategy, or if it's a university or public agency of some sort, our general mission as a organization is impaired by our inability to do effective software innovation. We want to help do better research, get more research grants at our university. We want to make it easier for researchers to collaborate with one another. We want to streamline the process of collaborating with people, between people on the faculty and the staff, on getting those research grants. But software isn't really helping us the way that it should. And that's just one of many possible examples of where the mission of an organization is impaired by the lack of effective software innovation. And there are plenty others, I'm sure, that you've experienced firsthand too. Tools are great. I use them. Everybody has their set of tools that they use in doing software development and delivery. We have a lot of tools in some organizations, and that in and of itself may present a bit of a problem, or maybe not. Maybe tools diversity is a good thing. How on earth do we decide whether we have too many or not? And if we have too many, which are the ones that we need to prune from the set of tools that we're using now? So as I said, a lot of choices to be made and not clear guidelines for making them. And that really is the ALM problem in a nutshell. What do we do? Well, we need some way in order to piece together these different software innovation investments. By going agile, do we need a tool or not? When we want to better manage the project that we're working on over the course of however long the project is going to be in existence, is there some methodology we should be implementing at the portfolio level, at the team level, at the software value stream level that will directly help us with that effort at the portfolio level? There are so many different moving parts here that are not really meshing with one another. We need to figure out a strategy for getting them to mesh. And we need to be ultimately focused on value. We'll have a lot to say about this in one of the later videos, but we're looking for more than efficiency. All of the different bits and pieces I talked about earlier, the people, the platforms, the tools, the methodologies, all of that makes us more efficient. It doesn't necessarily help us deliver value, and that in the end is why we're frustrated. The customers are not seeing the value in what we deliver to them, or it's taking too much for us to keep up with their demand. So the value to us as an organization isn't there necessarily the way that we're doing things right now. And no matter how many efficiency improvements we throw at our organization, we're not yet at the point where we feel like we can keep up with that kind of demand. Or we're being crushed under technical debt, and it's impairing our ability to create new software value. All the problems I'm talking about as exemplary of the ALM challenge are, in the end, something about value, not merely efficiency. So we need to take into account value in whatever we say an ALM strategy is. Now, why ALM? Well, this higher level strategy needs to pull all these pieces together, really to take these different efficiency improvements and turn them into something that generates greater value. Now, ALM isn't a perfect term. It says application at the beginning, and we're not just talking about applications in the sense that something that an end user can interact with. And often application lifecycle management has a strong connotation of tools. There are ALM tool vendors, and they talk about ALM often as if it were only tools. But ALM strategy is a lot more than just applications. It's a lot more than tools. It's a familiar enough concept that we're not going to invent a new term for what we're talking about here. Sometimes when you talk to organizations about their aspirations, their frustrations, they will say, we need ALM better in the terms of a strategy. The problem is there is no ALM strategy. There's not really yet a clear picture of what the nature of a strategy would be and how do you know when it's going to succeed. Well, that's what we're going to be talking about in this particular video series. So now that we've set up the problem, the next thing we'll talk about is flow. As one important element of ALM, how do you create the most effective flow of value to the recipients of software innovation efforts? It's going to take more than just a team to do it. That there are, again, multiple moving parts here in the software value stream, to mix a metaphor. So that machine really needs to work in some kind of unison, and that's going to mean that we have to talk about multiple levels of strategy beyond just a team or even just the value stream as the target of our attention. We can take the different pieces I'm going to describe in the next two episodes and put them together in an important way that makes ALM manageable. We don't want to create a strategy that is just incredibly complex beyond the ability of the human mind to comprehend, and certainly beyond the ability of any organization to use. So we're going to put everything together in a way that makes the effort manageable. And at the end, we'll talk about what Cutter can do to help you with an effective ALM strategy. So that's our agenda for the coming videos. Let's get on to it. So thanks for listening to the first part, and in the next we'll discuss the flow of value as one of the key components of a good ALM strategy.